Rodolfo, if that's his name, if I remember it correctly. There's been conflict. As you may know, may or may not know, I was shot down, and in this incident, the primary suspect is Clyde Villaroman because of the car that registered. The car that was used in the crime was registered to him at that time, and there's reasonable suspicion that he is armed and dangerous because of shooting me down with an AP pistol. Now, he has tried to clear his name by coming to the police, and when he came here, he did not comply with being reasonably suspected to be armed and dangerous. People with the legal grounds of reasonable suspicion, they have the right, officers have the right to frisk someone down for weapons. And that was what I was going to do. What I was going to do is I was going to frisk him and then question him, detaining him. And when I tried to do that, he was resistant. So he was disobeying lawful orders, which is also a crime here in the state. So what happened there is that Lieutenant Jaime and Captain Zoe were just standing there, just watching me tell this man to put his hands up and let me frisk him and obeying my lawful commands. Captain Zoe and Lieutenant Jaime did not do anything. And that is a big mistake. You as officers must understand that we are all on the same team. Despite your personal views, you are supposed to be objective with how things are. I, as the commander, had reasonable suspicion as grounds to detain Mr. Clyde Villaroman and frisk him and then question him to be if he truly wanted to clear his name. But instead, he ran away, and I didn't get any assistance from that. It was a big mistake for Captain Zoe and Lieutenant Jaime to believe that they did nothing wrong.
Really? They believe?
They did not assist in any way. And that is also a big problem. If you do not assist your fellow officers in doing their operations, in doing their duty, when it is your responsibility to know what they're doing, to know why they're doing it, and to know how to help them. If you are going to watch me arrest someone, if you're going to watch me reasonably detain someone and you're not going to do anything, that is dereliction of your duty. You are abandoning your post. You are abandoning your duties as a police officer because you are to have your own personal beliefs. Our job as police officers, we are sworn and we have made an oath to the state of the Constitution. The Constitution state. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Yes,
I
Commander.
understand. Yes, Commander.
What was absolutely horrible about that situation was that I was, as a commander, did not have his support of his subordinates.
User left your
And I
channel.
want you to know that I had legal grounds to do that, to do what I needed to be done. And I asked of trust. I asked for cooperation. That's what I asked for in this job. And I myself believe that it is not too much to ask for. Captain Zoe and Lieutenant Jaime did not assist me in their job because they believed that he was clearing his name, because they believed that he had his own alibi. It was a big, big mistake. Their positions are now in jeopardy because they do not understand the basic grounds of reasonable suspicion. It's not probable cause. I can admit that. I do not have probable cause to arrest Clyde Villaroman for attempted murder of a Leo. but we have reasonable suspicion at the very least, and that is grounds for detaining and frisking. And I want you all to understand that as well. If you were to find someone to be reasonably suspicious, you would expect your fellow officers to help you. You would frisk them. You would do whatever it is you need to be done for your own safety, for the public safety, for your fellow officers' safety. Look to your left, look to your right. You have officers that need you. You have officers, you are going to help each other. There's no one else who will help you. And if you can imagine that officer right next to you does not help you, you're dead. You have abandoned your duty. We have a job to do, and there are dangerous people out there in the world. There are dangerous people who want to destroy the police department as we know it. And it is our job to prevent that. To be reasonably suspicious when we should be, and to be lenient when we can be. Captain Zoe and Lieutenant Jaime disappointed me greatly today. If I do not have an officer to depend on, who do I lean on at this point? I am the commander of the Los Santos Police Department. I have a responsibility left to me by the chief of police, your chief of police, to do my job, to do our job, to make sure everyone does their job. That is my job. To make sure that you, as an officer, do your job. So I will warn you this one time. If I were to see you not assisting your fellow officers,
joined your channel.
Not trusting each other, you and your position will be up for review by high command. If you do not understand, if you disbelieve, if you do not trust, if you were to be in conflict with your fellow officers, then you might just be a weed that needs to be pulled out. I have almost terminated someone for insubordination. Insubordination towards high command is absolutely disgusting and horrendous behavior. And I am ready to terminate or suspend or dismiss anyone that I need to. This police department, if everything goes wrong, if everything goes right or wrong, may not have much officers. If I will be getting problems of insubordination, of officers who do not do their job, who do not read their SOPs, who do not know what they're doing, will be terminated, will be dismissed from the department or suspended until they learn their lesson. And that means that I may be terminating half the police department. That means we may lose manpower. That means that there will be changes that will be made that people will disagree with. But that is not your job to disagree with. You are to follow your policies set by high command.
User left
That
your
is an
channel.
order. That is a command.
User left your channel.
If you were to have problems, bring them up respectfully, professionally. If you have suggestions, you can bring them up nicely. But if you were to have full disagreement, you should let that be known. It is your responsibility as a police officer to talk to your higher-ups, to your superiors, to inform them of your grievances, to inform them if you have any suggestions or if you have disagreements. We will not allow, as a high command, we will not allow this sort of problem to be done through gossip, to be done through disrespect of the police department, to be done through disrespect of high command. So that is it. The duties that we are all sworn to will ask of us to do things that sometimes we don't like. Sometimes we don't like our job. Sometimes we're going to do things that we don't like, that we don't agree with. But that's not our job. Our job is to help each other. Our job is to be police officers. And that means if you need to arrest someone, you have to do it.
User joined your channel.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Oh,
No?
no,
Okay.
no.
Well, what?
We don't have question.
I see.
User joined your channel.
There are different policies that I will now enumerate, and you can give your feedback. We may have ride-alongs for civilians in the future. Civilians who may want to know how police work is done, or maybe candidates for employment. There can be ride-alongs as well. Here's the ride-along policy that I wrote on and off duty. Any officer can partner up with another officer whilst on duty. However, if there you are needed to split up to help with the amount of units, then do so. No more than 2 officers are allowed to be in the same patrol vehicle at any time. We understand you will be closer to some other officers or others over others. All we ask is that you do not ignore someone if they would like to ride along with you, or pass them off your friend when your friend gets on duty. We are all in this together, so
User
please work
disconnected
with
from your
everyone.
channel.
That means if this policy were to come out, only 2 officers at a time will be allowed in a car. So carpooling, 3 officers, 4 officers will not be allowed.
Okay.
Recruits take priority when it comes to letting officers ride along with others, and recruits can only be on duty when doing a ride along with a fully qualified cop.
User joined your
If
channel.
you as a cadet
User joined your
were
channel.
not to have anyone to ride along with, you are forced to be off duty. That is the end of this. Do you understand this, recruit Vance?
Yes, Commander.
Office cadets cannot be by themselves. That is a period. That is a period statement. If you do not have anyone to go with, even if it's if you're by yourself, that does not mean you're allowed to go do your duty by yourself. That is not grounds for that. Cadets need to be with an FTO or with a partner to be right along with. That is final. There's no situations where one cadet needs to be done. That is sadly the truth. Now, for the off-duty ride-alongs, any officer may go on a ride-along with an on-duty officer whilst they are off-duty if the on-duty officer is happy to take them. The off-duty officer is expected to stay out of
User
uniform
left
and in
your
the car at
channel.
all times, even when on scene. An off-duty officer cannot insert themselves in any situation, nor can they act as an on-duty officer whilst off-duty. If it comes to it, though, you are, of course, still allowed to defend your life. You are still allowed to defend your life. Civilians are entitled to go on a ride-along. However, only a sergeant or higher can give permission for a civilian to be a ride-along. And again, the civilian is expected to remain in the officer's patrol vehicle at all times and not insert themselves in any scenario. Any questions?
None, sir. None, Commander.
Okay.
Commander,
Off-duty policy.
I have question, Commander. How about
What's the question?
the 2 cadet is only on duty? Is that okay? Two
2
cadet?
cadets?
Yes.
No. The
No. Okay.
cadets will need 1 person
Ah.
to themselves.
Higher.
So, for example, there's 2 cadets and one officer or above. That means only 1 cadet can be on duty,
Okay.
and they have to choose. I think I'm gonna make it a first come first serve policy. So
Okay.
first cadet will have to go right along with someone else, and that is the only time they are allowed to do their job. So if you now that I'm telling you this policy, you are to enforce that, and you are to share this information with your fellow officers. It is your responsibility to do so.
Okay.
So we
Copy.
can all share each other's information and knowledge. But don't make it a game of Chinese whisper. I don't know why it's called. Sorry, not Chinese whisper. Don't make it a game of whisper, where the information gets bungled
User
up
joined
every
your
time
channel.
it comes to a new person. Just remember, one cadet needs to stay with one officer. That's it. That's it.
Okay. Copy.
It's a simple statement. Now, off-duty policy. Work gets tough. Feel free to take personal time as you wish. However, whilst off duty, you are required to abide by certain rules. Number 1, you are not allowed to commit any crime whilst off duty. Number 2, you are not permitted to interfere in active crime scenes without asking if your assistance is required. Number 3, you will be allowed to socialize with convicted felons as long as you do it in a professional manner. Number 4, you are not allowed to run as a private investigator detective whilst off duty. This also doubles as you are not allowed to have a private detective job or private security job whilst you're off duty. Now, number 5, you will not have an intimate relationship with any convicted felon while employed by the LSPD. You understand that? You will not have any intimate relationship with any convicted felon while
Okay.
employed by the Los Angeles Police Department. So if you were to see this hot guy or gal or whatever, and you have to make sure that they're not convicted felons. If they do not have the felony on their record, if they do, your position may be up for review
Sir, I have a
by
question.
high
User left your
command.
channel.
Yeah, what if
Do you have a question? Yes,
I
go
had
ahead.
a girl?
User joined your
She has
channel.
no records at all. Then we're in, I think, more than 3 months like that. Then after that, she committed any crime like
She commits a felony.
attempted murder of a civilian. What should I do? Do I need to break
You
with her
need Yes.
or what?
You can either break with her or lose your job.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
Shit.
okay. Thank you, Commander.
You can either break. You're not. That's policy in the department. You will not have an intimate relationship with any convicted felon. If anyone you are with happens to commit a felony, then you are not. Your job, your position, according to objectivity, according to conflict of interest, will your job and position will be up for review. And if we were to find that you have a convicted felon as a partner, you will be dismissed. Do you
Sir, can
understand?
you
Okay.
press
Yes,
authorized,
Copy.
sir?
Copy.
Hey, yo, sir. Sorry. I can hear you guys. Hello?
There's someone downstairs. I can hear him through the vents. Where was I? You can check? All right, go ahead and check. All right. AR, assault rifles, shotguns, submachine guns, usage policy. Where are you going, Daryl?
Yes, sir.
Daryl, okay ka lang? Daryl?
Lieutenant, Commander, I need to sleep.
Need
Yeah,
to sleep?
emergency. Yeah, it's an emergency.
It's emergency? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, in my mind. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Good night, Commander. Good night. Good night.
You have a good night.
Okay, good night.
Ikaw, 02-1042. Good night.
Taser usage policy.
User
Let's
left
wait
your
for
channel.
the sergeant to come back. There are so many policies here. Item seizure policy, vehicle access policy, vehicle code usage policy.
Oh, there's a lot.
Cadet,
Ye-
let me ask you something.
Yes, Commander.
How long have you been a cadet? Oh, someone's getting a call.
Agda. Yes, sir. Pardon.
How long have you been a cadet, Cadet Vance?
Almost going for 2 months.
Do you feel that's a problem? 2 months? That's way too long. That's way too long.
User
because
left your
I'm not
channel.
awake
User disconnected from your
every
channel.
meeting.
You're awake at this time only?
Because I'm have a what you call this
User joined your channel.
work in my brain.
I see. So at this time only, well, you're in luck because the commander's here. I'm here. I'm here to help.
Yes, Commander.
There will
Yes.
be field training for example, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and you're gonna have to go through all of that to, for example, yes, there'll be classrooms. There'll need to be classrooms for classes for cadets.
Okay, Commander.
Yes. Okay. What do you know the difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause?
Pardon.
Okay, all right, let me ask you
User left
this,
your
Cadet
channel.
Vance. You've been a cadet for 2 months already?
Yes, Commander.
User
Okay.
left your channel.
All right, Officer Ann, listen well here.
Okay.
Okay. So, Cadet Vance,
Thank you.
what is reasonable suspicion?
It's a reasonable suspicion, Commander.
Yeah, reasonable suspicion. Yes, that's right. You have 3
Wait.
seconds. 1, 2, 3. Do you not know or do you know?
I don't know what is that.
You've been a cadet for 2 months and you don't know?
Yeah.
Who taught you? Okay. Is no one teaching you, Cadet Vance? Is no one teaching you anything here?
There's teaching me. But hindi ko siya natanong. Yung mga ganyan.
Mga ganyan? Mga ganyan is actual police work.
User joined your
What
channel.
we need, information that we need as police officers. Don't say it's mga ganyan. It's this right now.
Okay.
User left your channel.
Okay. Officer Ann, what is reasonable suspicion?
Example of reasonable suspicion is if there's something on the site like 1071, and then I saw multiple people, and then I
User
will
disconnected
ask
from your channel.
for test or them for GSR. So that is the reasonable suspicion.
That's an example, but I want you to
User
give me
left
the
your channel.
definition.
Joined your
The
channel.
definition of reasonable suspicion.
The definition.
The definition, yes.
I don't know how to say the
Okay.
definition.
Well, it's good to say I don't know. I respect people who say that I don't know. It's a truth. It's the honest truth. Sergeant,
Yes, Commander. Yes,
what
Commander.
is reasonable suspicion?
Reasonable suspicion regarding on what you've discussed
Yeah,
earlier?
what I discussed earlier. What is reasonable suspicion? By definition.
User joined your channel. Left your channel.
Sergeant, if you don't know, you can tell us. Because this is phase 1 of the new field training program. It's actually an academy. There
User
are
joined your
phase
channel.
1, phase 2, and phase 3 in the academy. And then phase 4 and phase 5 will be the phase 4, you will demonstrate field knowledge
User
with little
left your
help from an
channel.
FTO. An FTO can assist and guide the recruit if needed, but during a recruit's phase 4, they will be taking on most things by themselves. But I'm going to ask you again. You as officers, no matter how long you've been in the
User
department,
disconnected
no
from
matter
your
your
channel.
rank, I'm going to ask you this. What is reasonable suspicion?